Last night, my best friend Rob came over and told me he was having a really shitty day because of drama at work. So we went to our favorite bar, which is right up the street, and got plastered.
So I just jumped out and scared the hell out of my best friend. You know I scared you. You gonna lie? You gonna say I didn't scare you?
No.
You gonna say you didn't fall on the ground?
Nope.
Like a little baby?
Yep, little baby.
I scared your ass.
The sun is literally melting my brain from inside out. So now Rob is out getting me breakfast. Oh, look, there he is. What do you do? Oh my God, I hate him. Look at him. He is so ugly. I love him. He's my best friend and I would do anything for him. But he's making me breakfast to apologize for some shit he did last night. And then we're gonna go shopping. He's going to buy me a button up because all the bow ties that I bought in my bow tie haul don't match any of the button ups that I currently have. So he's gonna buy me a couple button ups to make up for the shit that he did last night. And I have a performance tonight. I'm gonna do a bunch of reading. I'm going to be binge reading this all weekend for Spookathon. This book, Give Me Your Hand, is going to be my completion of the second challenge. The first challenge was to read a thriller, and the second challenge is to read a book with purple on the cover. And this book features a purple flame, which now that I'm reading it, I understand why the flame is purple. It makes so much more sense that it did by looking at the cover. So I'm gonna go into a full synopsis on this book. I'm on page 117. I love it. I'm complete garbage for it. I think it's absolutely freaking fantastic. And it has exceeded all of my expectations, even though I'm only on page 117. Got my food?
Pink bags.
Where my food at?
Motherfucker.
So Rob, would you like to tell YouTube why you're making me breakfast?
Oh, because I love you.
Nah, that's
We're
not
best
why.
friends.
Why you lie?
That's not a lie. I'm making you breakfast because we're best friends.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that you threw up on my childhood bed last night. After I paid for our drinks, you rewarded me with throw up on my childhood bed.
Yeah, that's right.
You baby her. That's why she's naughty. Man.
Whatever, don't be mad because she doesn't like you.
The story is about 29-year-old Kit Owens, who is a brilliant female scientist currently working on a project that is determined to influence women's health everywhere. And although she's working under the field's most brilliant, talented female scientist, Dr. Severin, she still is haunted by the memory of Diane Fleming, a beautiful, intelligent girl in high school who lit her ambitions on fire and forever changed Kit's life by telling her the deepest secret anyone can ever share. To this day, Kit remains haunted both by her obsession with Diane Fleming and the secret that Diane divulged to her. Until Diane gets selected to be part of Kit's research group, and once again, Kit is sucked into Diane's world. I changed locations because I'm too hungover to stand properly. 117 pages into this book. Her characters are phenomenal. I love where the story is going. Sazon is the key to perfect papas. And we got some salsa. Hey. You can't tell me I'm not about to have the most legendary post-hangover breakfast ever. Woo! Some sazon, scrambled eggs, sausage links, guacamole, salsa, homemade, might I add. Some chips, and Rob got me a pastry because he's an angel. And of course, some tapatio. And most importantly, we have Big Mouth. The funniest show of all time.
Most importantly, Tapatio.
Tapatio.
Because if you get Cholula,
You're trash.
You some sort of fucked up that I can't be friends with.
So if you haven't watched Big Mouth, it's a show about hormonal young teenagers that are going through puberty. It's so funny. Like, it's such an unflinching... Thank you.
Sorry.
It's such an unflinching look at how awkward and terrifying and embarrassing going through puberty is. And they have these little hormone monsters that pop up and make them do things that they wouldn't normally do. It's hilarious.
Do you remember puberty?
Oh, I didn't go through puberty. I'm agender. I will say that I did get acne, but I never was like, oh no.
You still got
no, that's a
acne.
lie. I was definitely like a horny kid. But other than that, other than like my like sex drive,
Not
You
that I was
didn't get
having
anything?
sex as a kid. I'm just saying I thought about it a lot. But I mean, like, I had acne and like a high sex drive, but I didn't get.
Man, this is a good
Mood
hole you
swings.
dug yourself in. I'm just saying. Would you like a sausage?
Yes, please.
Probably because your sex drive is.
Shut up. She's being nice to me. Do you love me, Raven? Nope, she bit me. Okay, sorry for touching you. I just want to pet my kitten. And she's so mean.
Pet her. You gotta be softer, slower. Too fast. Okay, your turn. Ready? Super slow. Slow.
She's racist.
She's black.
She's internalized racism. She only lays on me to clean herself.
How's that make you feel?
Like garbage. I'm gonna hold her against her will. Fuck it.
Oh, she licked you.
She will learn to love it. Ow!
So did you figure it out?
The key is not to move. Don't even breathe. I stopped breathing 3 minutes ago. Got the blacklist going in the middle of Give Me Your Hand and homemade ramen. Perfection. Ran outside really quickly to snap a photo of this book for Bookstagram, and on my way back indoors I found the most disgusting sight I've ever seen. A ton of box elder bugs. Do you see this shit? This is disgusting. Finished the performance and then went immediately to the bar because I was so hungry and I stuffed my face with way too much food. And now Rob and I are gonna watch Hill House and I'm gonna try and finish Give Me Your Hand. It's currently 6 p.m. on Saturday. This is my first video of Saturday, and the reason I'm filming this so late in the day is because I had a really, really, really rough day. Had nightmares probably since I was 8 years old, and when I have a really bad one, I end up staying in bed for quite a long time. And I had one of the worst nightmares I've had in a really, really long time last night. And I think it's because I started binge watching The Haunting of Hill House. I'm on episode 5, and the show is just so eerie and disturbing and creepy, and it just has like gotten under my skin. And I was thinking about it last night before I went to sleep, and this is the dream that I had. Had a really, really wonderful best friend. She was smart and funny and sweet, and she was pregnant, and she gave birth to this beautiful baby boy. I'd never seen a more beautiful and angelic child in my entire life before I laid eyes on her baby. And she placed him in my hand and said that she wanted to take a nap. So she's napping next to me, and I'm looking down and admiring her son, and he's just absolutely perfect. And then he stops breathing, and I'm holding this baby who is no longer breathing, and I'm just panicking, like I can feel his life leaving his body. And I have CPR training because I went to EMT school.
And so I start giving this baby CPR, and I'm thinking like, okay, well, I need to get oxygen into his brain. I need to call 911. And in the meantime, I'm going to get oxygen to his brain so that when his heart starts again, he will not suffer brain damage. So I'm providing oxygen and I'm pumping on his chest. And I'm also thinking about the fact that children's bodies are very, very fragile. And it's common that you will break someone's bones, someone's ribs when you perform CPR, because the amount of force that you need to exert on someone's body in order to appropriately provide CPR is enough to break a bone. So I'm giving this baby, this newborn, CPR and trying not to break any of its ribs, because it can very well likely puncture that child's heart. And then so I'm doing this, and as this is happening, I realize that it's not working, and I have to decide whether or not to wake up his mother and tell her that her son is dying, dead dying, or just run and try and find help. Two of us are running, and I'm carrying this newborn baby's body, and no one will help me. People are just pulling around me and refusing to move and not really even looking at me or paying attention, even though I'm screaming and I'm holding this dead child in my hands. And I somehow end up back in my apartment, and I'm holding the baby, and I have this moment where I think that everything's okay, and my best friend is sleeping again beside me, and she looks beautiful in her, post-childbirth glow, if that's even a thing, and all is right with the world. And then I look down at the baby, and its neck is broken, and his head is just hanging sideways in this grotesque, disturbing, awful manner. And I can feel while holding him that his head is hanging. And then I wake up. So that was how my Saturday started. I didn't get out of bed until around noon. And when I finally did get myself together and got out of bed, I realized that I still had to film, write, and edit, and then post my Saturday horror skit. By the time I finished it, it was 3 o'clock, and a friend really needed to get driven to this wedding. So I gave him and another one of his friends a ride, and then I did a little bit of reading just to calm myself down. And now it is 6:12, and I'm going to be getting together with some friends, some dancer friends, and we're gonna go see the new Halloween movie, which is probably a terrible idea, given the fact that I had such a terrible nightmare last night. But we've already paid for the tickets. We're going to a 21 plus theater. It's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna be in great company, so I think it'll be fine. But yeah, so that's why my vlogging for Saturday hasn't been that impressive. It's because I have nightmares, and they suck. And they hit me at the worst times, Friday was great, yesterday was great. I had a fantastic performance. We went out to dinner afterward. I was around some of my best friends in the whole world. And then, today was just really shitty and sucky. And when I have nightmares like that, it makes me really crabby and angry and hostile. So I'm just not in a good mood, and I feel like crap. But yeah, I'm excited for the movie regardless, and Sunday's definitely gonna be better. I'm gonna wake up early, I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna binge this. I can't believe I was about to wrap up this video without even talking about my thoughts on Give Me Your Hand. I'm gonna go into a much more elaborate description and review of this book in my October wrap up, but for now, I just wanna say that this book is 5 out of 5 stars, and you need to go get it. If you're still watching this video, you're doing something wrong. I need you to go get this book. Go to the library, go to Barnes & Noble, get it on thrift books. Do what you gotta do, because you need to read this book. I could not believe how twisty and suspenseful and just deceptive that this book was. Anytime that I thought I had a grasp on what was going on in the story, anytime that I thought I understood a character's motivation, and I mean all of the characters in this book have hidden motivations, are untrustworthy in some way, are deceptive in other ways. Oh my God, anytime I thought I had a handle on what was going on in the story, it threw me on my back, and I was in the dark all over again. Besides the fact that the plot is complex, impossible to figure out, twisty and suspenseful, the characters are really, really fascinating, and more importantly than that, the writing is just stunning. She has this brilliant, beautiful way of writing something that is very innocent and making it creepy. she could describe someone's walk or their smile in a way that gave me chills, in a way that made me feel like the air in the room was on fire and something terrible was about to happen. And that isn't something I often feel with thrillers. Usually I can feel that the writer's trying to push my emotions in a certain direction, and it never works for me because I know I'm being manipulated. But this book, it just manipulated me. It made me feel the way that a thriller is supposed to make me feel. Like, if I never read another thriller again, I would be fine with my last thriller being this book. That is how deeply I felt about this novel. She also tackled critical issues in our society in a way that wasn't ham-handed or too overt. I don't know, I could say a lot about this book, and I'm gonna talk more about it in my wrap-up, but I just think you should read it. It was great. And I'm supposed to be meeting up with my friends in 30 minutes, so I'm gonna go put on a sweater because it's really chilly, and I'll let you know what I think of the movie tonight. So I got to the theater early in order to start reading The Dead Kid Detective Agency, and I'm on page 12, and so far I'm not impressed. I don't like that the author is referring to people by their race. It's kind of getting on my nerves. I hate when authors take the time to describe in detail white characters and then just refer to their brown characters by their race. It's really insulting. Just don't know how long I can tolerate that, but we'll see. I'm not gonna put it down yet. I'm on page 12, so maybe I'm just being hypercritical. So I just got back from Halloween and I am in bed with Dead Kid Detective Agency. As far as Halloween goes, that movie was freaking amazing. So much better than I thought it would be. And Jamie Lee Curtis looked so good. I was like, okay, grandma, let's go. Sexy granny. There was a scene when she was in like a tank top and had a shotgun and her muscles were out. And I was like, damn, look at what Activia can do for you. Besides that, the movie was really good. I enjoyed it. I think it was a perfect way to wrap up that series, even though I know someone's gonna revive it at some point in the future because we can't let things go. Good morning, friends. It is Sunday, about 9 o'clock. I still haven't changed, but I have washed my face, so we are getting somewhere. I've decided to DNF the Dead Kid Detective Agency. The last straw was I read this sentence. There was no way that girl was a ghost, was there? Because that would just be stupid. Okay, that's not writing, and I don't have to live like this. So I'm moving on. Instead, in order to satisfy the read a book with pictures requirement, I have picked up Infidel. Look at this imagery. I know this comic is going to be absolutely amazing. When I went into Hot Comics and Collectibles, one of my favorite dudes who work behind the front desk had this comic waiting for me. He was like, you're going to love this. You need to read it. This comic is for you. And he knows my taste very, very well, so I'm incredibly stoked about this one. It's a 21st century horror comic about people of color who move into an apartment building that is being haunted by various xenophobic entities. And I kind of just want to read a little bit of the foreword to you about this comic because it absolutely sucked me in, and I think it sums up the comic in a way that I could never do. For too long, those of us who were Black or people of color had to accept being invisible in the horror stories we loved, or else diminished to hurtful and repetitive tropes. Magical guides to the white protagonists, first to die to create peril for the real characters, or outright sacrifices, useful only for cultural heritage to be exploited for scares. Racism has always been a monster to me. In many ways, racism may be the reason I read, write, and love horror. I'm so excited. And apparently this comic is in the process of being adapted in Hollywood, so I don't know if it's going to be a TV show or a movie, but I'm really excited. I hope it's a show because I've become obsessed with horror shows lately. So I'm going to shower, change, and then start reading this book and let you know what I think. Holy shit. Okay, I know I said I was gonna go shower, but I just peeked through the book and I got sucked in, and it's so good. I'm on chapter 2. I just finished chapter 1, and this book is absolutely freaking phenomenal. So the characters so far are Aisha, who is the devout Muslim woman on the cover, her husband Tom, who is white, her best friend Medina, who is Black, and then Aisha's stepdaughter, Tom's daughter, Chris, and Leslie, Tom's mother. Aisha doesn't see that Leslie is very racist and is trying to get custody of Chris, the child, because she doesn't believe that a Muslim woman should be raising a white child. And so Tom has a lot of reservations about his mother, and he keeps trying to warn Aisha. She basically almost blindly believes in the goodness of other people, even though, as you can see through her interactions that people are terrified of her. It's really intense, and I think that a lot of people of color pretend that racism isn't as big of a deal as it is because we don't want to admit how at risk and how vulnerable we really are. Medina and Aisha and Tom have moved into this haunted apartment complex where 6 people were murdered. And Aisha begins to have violent nightmares. And the line between nightmare and reality is being blurred all throughout chapter 1, and it ended on a really cool cliffhanger, and I'm just really excited about this book. It's phenomenal, and the illustrations are truly very haunting and imaginative and creepy. So far, I'm invested in all of the characters, even Leslie, the racist grandmother. She represents the way that white women in particular can display racism perfectly. Many white women, especially older white women, will pretend that they like you. They will pretend to be nice to you, and they will pretend to accept you, and then behind your back, they will say things like to their daughters or sons, like, you can't hang out with this person. When I was 12, I went over to a good friend's house for the first time to have a sleepover, and she was white. And we were getting ready for bed, and my friend came into her bedroom just laughing, and I was like, what's funny? And she was like, oh, it's just my mom. And I was like, what did she say? And she said that her mother told her to hide all of the nice china and silverware in the house because I was staying over. It was honestly the first time that I'd ever realized the things that white women must say and have said about me behind my back as a black kid. And I was like a really good student. Like, I had never stolen anything in my life. I was really straight and narrow, so there was no reason for her mother to say that about me. And my friend was laughing, and it didn't occur to me until later that my friend should have stood up for me. And it also didn't occur to me that I shouldn't be sleeping under this woman's roof, and if I believed in myself more, I would have left immediately. But I didn't, and I ended up being friends with this girl throughout most of high school, and she treated me pretty poorly throughout that entire time. But long story short, that is the way that racism takes form now. It's, I'll be nice to your face, but I don't want you to marry my kids. And you'll never truly be one of us because you're not actually welcome here. So I'm enjoying this comic. I'm gonna get right back into it. Fuck the shower. Like, it's not worth it, to be honest. I just finished Infidel, and this comic is easily 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if they will be coming out with a sequel, but if not, I'm completely content with this comic as it is because it was so satisfying and well done. And look at this art. Just flawless. Don't let this comic turn you off because of its political message. Yes, it does have a political element, but the story itself is well developed even outside of that. The characters are really enjoyable, and it was genuinely creepy. And it's difficult to be creeped out in a comic because comic books are a silent medium and they don't have the jump scare factor that we get in horror films. So if you need that jump scare factor in order to get you into the spirit of being creeped out, I would recommend reading this comic while putting on like some spooky... What is my cat doing? While putting on some spooky music in the background. But honestly, I think that the comic speaks for itself and does a great job of creating a creepy atmosphere while also delivering a very important political message. It's poignant, elegant, and not ham-handed in any way. I would definitely read this book. So there's about 5 hours left of Spookathon, and my final challenge, the only one I haven't completed, is to read a book not set in the current time period. I'm gonna be reading The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle, which is a rewrite of an H.P. Lovecraft story, but it's told through the lens of a black man. So I'm going to be binge reading this at the market across the street. It's only about 230 pages long, so I might be able to power through it. And then afterward, I will let you know my thoughts, and tonight we're gonna go, Rob and I are gonna go get some of those like spooky Halloween cookies from the store and continue watching The Haunting of Hill House because I haven't learned my lesson. Look at all these awesome mushrooms. So it is 10:27 and I just finished the final challenge for Spookathon to read a book not set in the current time period. It means no worries for the rest of your days. Hakuna Matata. Absolutely, without a doubt, 100% love this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Every second of it was enjoyable. The book itself genuinely scared me in the same way that Get Out genuinely scared me. because it showed the horrors of being Black in America, especially in the 1920s, which is where the book takes place. And I get breathless thinking about it, thinking about some of the things that happened to Tom in this book and to his family and to his people. Even outside of the racial components of the story, the horror itself was solid, genuinely creepy, spooky, fantastic, and the writing was flawless. Easily 5 out of 5 stars, and it was the perfect book to wrap up my Spookathon marathon. This was my first marathon, my first ever marathon vlog, so I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the future if you would prefer my readathon vlogs to happen with daily updates, or if you like them kind of being in like a weekend binge. Thanks so much for watching this video. I will see you in my next one.